What's up, everybody? How are you guys doing? Welcome to Jake Richardson's Coaching Corner. On today's episode, we have a reoccurring guest, David Haynie. If you're able to listen to the last episode, he touched a little bit on how he used to be 300 pounds and extremely out of shape and was able to 180 his life, lose over 100 pounds, and be in the best shape of his life. So I really wanted to get him back on the show and talk about this huge journey and what you could do if you're somebody in the same situation. So we're gonna get him on, we're gonna talk about it, and we're gonna dive right in. Here we go.
All right.
We're back at All right, we're gonna dive right into it. So give a little recap that when we were talking about in the last episode of how you got to 300 pounds.
Okay. I think majority happened, started when I was in sixth grade.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it started when I started getting into like video games, whatnot. Staying at home. Everyone used to have a headset. That's when Xbox got popular. Call of Duty, Halo, all that stuff. And coincidentally, at the same time, that's when my parents got divorced too. So that was like a pretty easy outlet, I guess, probably to deal with like stress or whatnot. I used to be home playing video games, eating a whole bunch of food. All my friends were doing the same thing. And then also I didn't have that male figure around to kind of keep me in check, to be like, maybe you should go outside and play. Maybe you should go do some sports. Maybe you should, you know what I mean, stuff like that. So I think it just got, over time, it kind of just lumped up until like maybe freshman years when I started really putting on the pounds, when started getting really big. And that's when I got into football. And then in football, they kind of encourage you to get big. I tried to get into like muscle milk and all that stuff. That made me gain like a whole another like 50 pounds.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and then by junior year, I think that's when I started getting to like 280, 290, 300. And then I hit like 310 or something like that. I think once I passed over like 310, I just didn't even want to weigh myself. That it was kind of embarrassing. Yeah.
Man, so I mean, I like how you were touching, because it's very true that there has to be some, and not every time. Sometimes, like you say, it can just be genetics, it can just be laziness, but there usually is this big trauma that ends up happening. And your parents divorcing was a huge one. Before your parents divorced, was your dad big on getting you to play sports, getting you to? He was big on that.
Yeah. So he's the one who put me into like basketball, doing basketball tournaments, whatnot. And yeah, he would like draw chalk lines outside in our backyard and have me like go shoot around, and like just always took me to do some kind of like activity. So
yeah. And then your mom probably wasn't as into sports, and she was doing some other things. So when your dad leaves, that whole aspect of your life is just gone.
Yeah. Definitely not to her fault at all.
No. It's just
Yeah. So yeah, it was just like I guess situations happen like that, and then I didn't really have like an uncle or like any other like a big brother or anybody like that who would kind of like keep me in check and do those kind of things either.
Yeah. So around that time, let's say sixth grade, freshman, junior, what were the food options like at your house?
I think it's also passed down from generations, because like I guess for my parents' generation, like their parents gave them just not like whatever they could afford, but it was more just on like, you know, what's more of value. It wasn't more like what's very nutritious for you. I don't know if that was like a wide mainstream thing that was taught to people about getting your kids nutritious food, installing those habits. You know what I mean? Then you being healthy yourself, so your kids kind of copy those habits. So yeah, the food, to say the least, we usually ate out a lot. Either at a restaurant or got fast food like Carl's Jr., McDonald's, all those things. And then the couple times that I did cook at home, they're kind of basic meals, like you know those meals you see people get, like spaghetti and meatballs with that Texas toast, and like just carbs, you know what I mean? Stuff
like a Hardy
that.
Man meal or something.
Oh, I had a whole bunch of those because my mom was working. Like, you know, so like when I got home from school, that was my food. I would just have those meals, and then just add it up.
Which makes all the sense in the world, because being in a single parent household, somebody has to work. So, and are you the oldest in the family?
Oh no, I'm my sister's older than me.
But then, so where was she? Was she around, or was she?
Yeah. But she was doing her own thing. Like she was in like extracurricular, like cheerleading, and just being in high school. And
Exactly.
Just, you know,
so it's not as if there's gonna be somebody cooking for you. So you're almost kind of fending for yourself.
Yeah, yeah, in a sense, yeah.
Yeah, like food is there, but when it comes to the cooking aspect, there's not a lot of people. Yeah.
Decision. Yeah, all totally on myself.
Which makes all the sense in the world, because if you're giving a preteen or teenager a decision on what to eat, where do they usually lean towards?
Yeah, of course, whatever tastes good, whatever's the best, and yeah.
And that is probably a lot of what you did at that time.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So that makes all the sense in the world. So you said that your dad helped when it came to promoting activity.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, it was just, there was a little bit lack thereof. How did you get into football at that point?
Well, I was playing basketball my freshman year.
Okay.
I was so out of shape that, I mean, I was good. I was talented, but I was so out of shape that they had certain requirements that you have to make to like make the team and stuff like that. And luckily, I was good enough to, hopefully I don't get anyone in trouble. I was good enough to where they gave me some leeway in not passing those things, because I get to like, make the suicide times when you run back and forth times, or doing push-ups. I couldn't even do like 20 push-ups. So like, outside of those things, luckily I was good enough to stick around for that first year, but I didn't really enjoy it. I was so out of shape that I couldn't really enjoy the sport how I should be able to play it. So then I got into football. They kind of like persuaded me to go that way. You get to lift weights. Your size was kind of praised instead of like looked down upon.
Yeah.
But then I just got into that, lifting weights, and then it just took off from there.
Man. And so then, did you stick with basketball at all after freshman year, or that was it?
No, surprisingly, I did. I was playing basketball in AAU.
Yeah.
So like, I was like during summertime, so I was still playing AAU, and I was very competitive, but I was still overweight.
Yeah.
And I wasn't conditioning throughout the year like basketball conditioning, so I couldn't really shed those pounds in those 3 months that I was playing AAU over summer.
Yeah, and man, I mean, it makes all the sense in the world, especially when you're reaching around this point. You're over 250.
Oh yeah, easy. I passed the 250 mark at freshman year.
Holy shit! And how tall were you?
6'1".
At that time, you're 6'1", 250, like over 250.
Oh, I think I was 6 feet. I probably hit 6'1" by sophomore year and stopped growing.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I was a big kid.
Yeah. I mean, to the point that you're making, there's a lot of coaches that will see that and see the value in the height and the size. But if you get a hold of coaches that don't necessarily know how to, A, either motivate you to lose the weight, or B, turn it into muscle, it's almost, and like you say, you're not getting anybody in trouble because these people are grown people nowadays, but you almost look at those coaches as they fumbled a little bit. There could have been so much more in the sake of getting your health in the right direction.
Oh, yeah. So, no, I guess it's just very old school practices that, I think I just got passed out, and that mentality like didn't help me at all.
Yeah. How was your confidence at this point?
Oh my goodness, probably almost non-existent.
Fuck.
Because I wasn't a ladies' man at that time. I'll tell you that. So I really had to just try to lean on personality, even in that sense, just to like, because I definitely wasn't confident with how I looked at myself.
Yeah.
I didn't have like my parents weren't like so wealthy to where I was like had like all like the nice designer clothes or anything like that, so I couldn't cover up my insecurities with that either.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wasn't very confident to say the least. Yeah. I mean, I knew art. I was confident in my academics. I mean, I could lean on that, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you touched on an amazing point, because I fully believe that you, as a man, especially a young man, you gotta be either in shape, you gotta have some money, you have to be funny, you have to be smart, or you have to be sweet. And I think in those categories you could find a niche, but when at that point you're not in shape and financially you don't have the clothes to hide it, which a lot of rich kids do that. They'll have the cars, they'll have the clothes, and that'll kind of help them in that category. It was almost, in my opinion, a blessing, because if you did have something to lean on, you may not have been in the position that you're in now, because you had to face it up front and eventually make a change.
Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely was a blessing in disguise. Didn't realize it at the time. But yeah, definitely a blessing. I always think back at like, if I was in this shape or other things at that time in high school, I probably would have been like an a-hole. Probably would have been, with all the jogs, it probably would have been like just not the person who I am now is what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
And there's another silver lining, especially when you get to the finish line and you can look back at the race.
Yeah.
That's a great silver lining to look at. And would you say, I mean, you're an athlete at this point, you might be out of shape, and you're saying that the confidence wasn't there, but how were you perceived from your peers in school?
It was probably mixed. I got along with everybody because I was in band, so I used to know all the band people. I used to play video games, so I kind of knew all the gaming people. I played sports, so I knew all the jock people. I kind of just mixed myself around, but I wasn't really in one spot. I don't know if I would consider myself the cool kids, you know what I mean, like the popular kids and stuff like that, who hang out with. But I tried to squeeze my way into that group by junior, senior year. I think just from sports or something like that.
Was there any backlash or jokes or any teasing because of your weight when you were in high school?
Oh yeah, for sure. That's the easy go-to. If you guys are having a back and forth about something, and the person felt defeated, they can always go to that. That's an easy it's like a yo mama joke. They can, oh, you're fat.
Exactly.
It's just I can't do anything about that right this second. So, you know what I mean?
And who was the bulk of this coming from? Teammates or?
Oh yeah, it was teammates. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they realized it at the time because maybe it's just everyone else laughs at it because other people just laugh at it, so they just think it's funny. They probably don't realize the mental effect of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was teammates or just I guess acquaintances, people who you hang out with or not, just other guy classmates. Yeah.
In the area, would you say? And I don't want to dive too far because we're still kind of in this stage of it, but I don't want to go too far ahead. But do you remember all of that when you're making your transformation?
Oh, dude, that was the fuel. And, dude, that and the girls that would turn me down or looked at me weird or funny because of how I looked or you know what I mean, stuff like that. Dude, that was the fuel, and it was I didn't want to do it when I just wanted to go all out, sprint, something where I just wanted to work so hard to where you almost throw up kind of thing. Those are the things I went back through and just
Oh, I love that because you need something. You need something to push you or to motivate you at all times. And when you have that much firepower and that much fuel, you'll get to where you are today. So like I said, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but I wanted to kind of grasp onto that so whoever's listening could hear that. Yeah, use that as a positive and don't shell up and use it as a negative for too long.
Yeah, for sure.
So you touched on this, and it was actually one of the next questions, is you said that the confidence with the ladies was a little bit lower at that time. Was there any attention in high school from the opposite sex, even if you were out of shape?
Was there attention?
Yeah, from just the opposite. It doesn't have to be the cheerleader captain, but just in general.
Yeah, I think a little bit, but it just probably wasn't who I wanted the attention
Exactly.
from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also it also opened my eyes to where I stood on the totem pole or the tier. I'm well, if these people like me, I'm down here. I want these people to like me. So that's not how it is, but that's how your mind thinks as a teenager. You know
it's really, you're absolutely right. I mean, there is a hierarchy that is created in your brain in high school.
Yeah.
And it's such a small community that you only have a couple shots at the hot chick or whatever, or somebody else snatches her up. But do you feel, if you were in the shape that you are now, that would have been way different?
Yeah, honestly, it would have been way different.
Yeah.
But like I said, I didn't have my dad wasn't around to tell me right from wrong about how to treat women. So I probably would have been in a way different state. Who knows if I would have been a teenage father, or you know what I mean? Or I mean, so many different things could have happened gone that way. So I don't know. Like I said, I guess it's a blessing too.
Because I'm gonna ease your teenage out of shape mind, because when I was in high school, I was in really good shape. I was the team football captain. I was the everything. And the women that I wanted in high school didn't want my ass either. So
that's great. You know what I mean?
But it's to the point that you're making is, even if one category is filled, and you're lacking in another one. So for me, I was actually taught to be super kind. So from my mom, I was taught you gotta treat a woman this way, you gotta be super nice, blah blah blah. It was still great skills to have. But when you're too nice, they'll step on you the same exact way.
Hello. Yeah.
So that I had to learn that lesson in high school. I was just too nice. I was Mr. Sports, so I was always focused on that. But I was too nice, and I would get stepped on the same exact way. So it's cool to hear your side of the coin in high school, and then compare it to mine, and it sounds pretty much similar.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Things that we thought would be the answer wasn't at the time.
it wasn't. Yeah, I mean, you learn as you go on, obviously, and we're in the situation that we're in right now, where we both have two very beautiful women that are by our side. So it ends up working out at the end of the day. But that high school circus is a motherfucker, and it'll just mess you up. It'll mess your brain up.
Yeah, I mean, just to like add on to like high school culture, like I remember like even if at lunchtime, if you're walking next to a girl or talking to a girl, like people would make a scene or say some stuff like it would be like, "Hey, David, something." Like it's just like people are always talking about what you're doing. So.
Exactly, it's that small community mindset and that feel at that time.
Yeah.
What did it feel like when you would work out or do cardio? You touched a little bit on it, but let's use cardio. Obviously wasn't fun, but how did it feel when you were that size and you were lifting?
Lifting wasn't the hard part. See, like lifting was easy for me because I felt like, okay, strength is the easy part. I can gain strength. Like it was honestly kind of like I looked forward to it. Like gaining strength was a lot easier to see progress in than having a faster mile time or being able to do something in a quicker fashion or something like that. Yeah, so for the strength part, I actually enjoyed it. It was the cardio part that was.
So that's a cool yin to the yang, right? Because obviously life is yins and yang. So if there's a dude that can run fast and you can lift more than him, you guys are very much so equal in the sense of, well, I lift more than you, but yeah, you run faster than me. Who gives a shit? I still lift more than you do.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good thing to know for people that are listening, that there's other areas that you work on and you'll be just as fine.
Yeah.
What was the worst names that you were called?
Damn.
Like, what's the first one that comes to your mind?
Yeah, see, I don't know if there's like a specific one. Like, because I don't know, I never had like a nickname that stuck like that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like, fat's just like an easy go-to. But, like, I'm trying to think of like, what are other like fat nicknames people give people, like Shrek or like, you know, like those like kind of.
Which one could you think of where you're like, man, I was fucking working out because I was hearing that person saying that shit right there? It doesn't have to be a specific, but what were things where when you're working out and you could hear one person talking, what were they saying?
Yeah, I think honestly, I can't think of actual word. I'm going to be honest. But like, it's just more just people just kind of like clowning me for being heavy or trying to just the thought of people saying like, oh, you can't do this or you can't do that, or just like, you know what I mean?
Which, in my opinion, is still a very great answer because you're not harboring on one thing. Yeah. And it's so far in the past, you can't even remember those specific things. You just remember the overall shit talking. So, yeah, it's good. It's better to have that thought process than still hold on to the micro shit talking.
Yeah.
What motivated you to finally make that health change?
It was like a two-part thing. I think I told you on the other podcast about that event when I was too big to fit on the ride. That was like a big like shock to my system, but then I didn't immediately make that change. I think just once I hit over the 300 mark, once I saw over that mark at 300, and football was already done at that point. It was like senior year just finished. I was like, there's no point in me being this heavy after, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be playing football after this. So I think it was pretty much once I hit like that 310 mark, I had no idea I was that big. I think that's when I started like doing some kind of like something about it, at least like running or something.
How did the diet change?
Oh, so that's pretty funny. Like I really just cut out like almost everything. Like no fast food. I would just like make like very simple meals at home. At night, that was a hard thing for me, as at night I would be super hungry. So at night I would just like drink water instead of like food. Well, not like super late, but I mean like in time past 9 or 10, I would just drink water to fill my stomach. And usually by just drinking the water, my hunger would go away. So maybe I was thirsty and not hungry. I didn't know it.
Did you read that, or did you just figure that out being that age?
Yeah, I think I must have just figured it out, or I must have heard it from somebody. But I think I must have just figured it out. I just started chugging water. And then also what was pretty funny was like I would have all those frozen meals, all those like bad stuff inside the house. Whenever I would have friends over, I'd be like, oh, you guys want some food? And I'd let them just tear it up. So I wasn't going to be the one to touch it because I knew if it was there. So I'd let them eat it. So I wouldn't be the one to eat it, pretty much.
So at what age are you at this time?
Probably like 17, 8, yeah.
The insight that you have as a 17-year-old is insane, because you're absolutely right. So me as a fitness professional, I tell people all the time, more often than not, when you feel that what you think is a hunger pain, they're more often than not, your body's actually sending you a signal that you're dehydrated. So you're supposed to drink water. So to know that at 17, or to just go, hey, I'm going to drink water instead of eating, is extremely intuitive as a 17-year-old. Then to eliminate food, which is another thing that fitness professionals tell clients, hey, throw the bullshit food out. You did a double where you're like, hey, fellas, come by, eat all the fucking food, and so you just get away from me. So I'm actually helping my boys out because I'm feeding them, but I'm also getting the food away from myself at the same time. So to know that 17, and I think it really dives into, you have to listen to your body, and you have to listen to your surroundings and what makes sense to you. There is no do this, and you'll be in shape. It's what makes sense to you and how can you apply it. And at 17 years old, you did what people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s can't even do.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. Now that we look back on it, I didn't really think about it that way. It was just, I didn't really have any other information. So like you said, you just have a problem and you just come up with the solution to it, and then it just goes from there.
Which is insane, because to be in this space for 11 years and to hear grown-ass people make every excuse on the planet of why they can't do this and why they can't do that, and then to hear a 17-year-old come up with it themselves and make the change in which you made, is fucking mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Physically, how hard did you have to work on a daily basis?
Man. Well, so I started out, I guess, like daily, I would just go put on the garbage bag, a sweater over the garbage bag, and I would run like at least a mile, just once a day. That was like my start to my fitness journey, if you will. Just getting that consistent, like running a mile. And then after a little bit, I tried to start doing like push-ups and like sit-ups in between like commercials. Like my uncle used to tell me, like, oh, when you're watching TV, just do a couple push-ups, couple sit-ups in between commercials. So that kind of like got me in like the habit of like just doing something consistently every day. I think that was like the big thing.
Man, once again, where you're at that age, it's the same shit. It's just crazy. It's the same shit that we tell clients all the time. Just do what your body can handle, and just do the little things. Like your uncle was saying, do some push-ups, do some sit-ups in between commercials. People don't realize that it's kicking you right in the face. You're watching TV for 2 hours. Yeah, do 10 push-ups in between each commercial set, and you would have done 100, 200 push-ups, and you're ready to rock.
Yeah, and you're not exhausted. You're not like beat up. You're not sore. Like, you know what I mean?
So when did it progress past that into actually being inside of a gym and now having a kind of a routine?
It was when I got, I guess, lost enough weight to where I felt confident enough to even like step into a gym.
What weight was that?
I was probably right around 225, 230.
Holy shit! Yeah, there's a lot. That's a lot of poundage from 3+ to that stage. So from 3+ to about 225, it was running a mile, push-ups. It was everything solo. You were doing things by yourself the whole time.
Oh yeah, all the time. Just running a mile at least, doing the push-ups and sit-ups, and then I would play basketball a lot too. Just a whole bunch of trying to be very active.
So from the heaviest to 225, how long did that take?
I think that first, it was like 85 pounds. That first 85 was like a little bit over a year.
Holy shit. That's no little feat. You're talking about almost Like it's like that'd be 7 pounds a month.
Yeah, yeah. If you think about it, I think it was just a super big shock to my system because one, I wasn't out that often, like at all, and I was eating horribly. So like those two big changes alone just kind of like shocked my system, and then I guess it just took off.
And it's the hardest things to do, obviously, in application. The easiest things to do in thought process. It's easy to eliminate food in thought process. It's easy to work out in thought process. But the hardest things to do in actually putting pen to paper. And I'm extremely glad to hear somebody like yourself say that, who was at a stage of insane weight gain and go, no, I lost around 6 to 7 pounds a month because I changed my diet and also busted my ass, because people don't put enough emphasis into diet change and busting your ass.
Yeah. They usually try to do one or the other, and then, try to sacrifice it.
Everybody wants to make an excuse. Nobody wants to do the hard stuff. But you did that at such an early stage of your life. And then you get to 225 and you're in the gym now. How does that feel?
So at first it was a little scary because I wasn't very familiar with all the aspects, all the machines and whatnot. But luckily at that same time I was applying to a gym, Bally's. I think that's where we first met, right? Yeah. So Bally's, I applied to that gym, and thank God I got hired there because I was surrounded by all the trainers, being surrounded at the gym. The shifts are at least 8 to 9 hour shifts. So I'm surrounded by the whole gym culture 24/7. And then depending on what you're eating or what you're bringing to the gym, people are going to say stuff to you. Like the trainers be like, oh, you're eating this, or oh, you're eating that. Or they kind of kept me in check. And then when they had free time, they were showing me some stuff. So it just worked to my benefit.
Which is another beautiful gem right there, is you have to be around like-minded individuals to get to a certain goal you want to be at.
For sure.
You couldn't be around people eating the hearty meals anymore at Jack in the Box. You had to be around people that were a little bit older, maybe had a little more education in fitness, and then were able to go, hey, here's you at this stage. Now do this to get to this stage. And then you get there and you're learning more and you're doing more. So, yeah, it's the community at that stage that kind of helped take you to the next stage.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely installed the habits.
Yeah. So that actually leads me into my next question is, was there a single individual or was there anybody that helped you stay consistent at a time in which you were almost not necessarily giving up or stuck, but was there anybody that you can think of that just kept you consistent throughout that journey?
Man, I guess I could just say God.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that was honestly what I turned to even make that kind of change. I feel like, in a sense, I felt like I was talking to myself, but I'm talking to my higher self at the same time, who I'm supposed to be, who's that angel on your shoulder who's telling you, no, you can't do this. No, you're about to do that. No, don't give up. No, remember what we started. Remember why we did all this. Remember who's counting on you. Remember all the other stuff. So I think that's just what kept me always in check.
Which is, in my opinion, a great answer, because at 17 to know all those specific facts when it comes to health that somebody like myself who's a fitness professional tries to teach people all the time, there has to be a higher power dropping those gems into your ears. There's no way a 17-year-old just comes up with all those things that fitness professionals tell people to do and gets it done with nobody telling him how to do that.
Man, it's crazy. It's I really was my own coach, or I had a coach up there, but yeah.
It was wild. Like I said, that is something that had me shocked to hear you even say that, because that lets you know there was somebody in your ear giving you this information because they saw at that point you need to make a life change.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Did anybody give you backlash at this time?
Yeah. I'll make sure my phone doesn't die. Oh, we're good. Yeah, my family at first.
Specific.
They were very uncomfortable with it because it was just such a dramatic change. And they weren't used to me being at such a lower weight before. So at one point they thought I was starving myself, or I was something was wrong or something like that. They're like, are you okay? You're getting way too skinny. Are you eating enough? And all that. I was like, no, it's just a lifestyle change. It's just the new. I gotta get used to this. This is my new self. You know what I mean?
So they came. Oh, go ahead.
Or you also get those people who say why do you work out so much, or why do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But your family came from concern and not jealousy. It was more concern.
Right.
Because were they working out at the same time, or were they just kind of more consistent on work and school and?
Yeah, no, they were doing their own thing.
Yeah.
I don't think I never really had like a gym partner.
Yeah.
For that to do.
No, I completely could test to
Relate.
that.
Yeah.
So, but then, at what point did they start understanding it, accepting it, and being supportive about it?
I think once they understood that I really was doing it in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Showing that I'm eating enough food, I'm getting enough sleep, like showing that like other people do this stuff too. It's just you're probably not used to seeing it at this like intensity or at this consistent level or whatever it is. I think the only other time I ever got backlash was probably from like random people from high school who's like saw me post a picture of like at the gym or with my shirt off for the first time, and just for me to even post a picture with my shirt off, like that was hard for me to do because I'm so insecure, so self. You know what I mean? I still think I'm that 300-pound person, so it's really hard for me to do something like that in the first place. So when you have someone who's obviously probably like jealous or says, "Oh, you're trying to show off," or it's like, no, I'm just proud of my progress or what I've done. You know what I mean?
So if they came from more of a space of hate, because they're probably, were these people that used to be in shape that are out of shape now, or were they people that were just average? What were they?
Yeah, probably a mix of both.
Yeah.
Like majority of people that I know in high school, like I feel like most people like high school is like that's like their peak
Exactly.
stage, and then they decline, and then once you see them later on down the road in the future, and then they see that you've lost weight, and then they get self-conscious about how they look, and then they treat you differently or don't even want to talk to you, or it's all these extra factors to it.
Because you just made the perfect point right there, is the pendulum always shifts. Just because you were the man or the woman in high school doesn't mean you stay that way. If you think that you're just going to rest on your laurels, you'll probably be out of shape or have a shitty job or whatever. But then you'll have that person that they made fun of back in the day, or they didn't think a lot about, that's killing it now, that's in shape, that's got a great job, that's doing all these things. And they're just projecting their own insecurities onto you. And it's not working anymore. That's what they used to probably do back in the day as well, is project their insecurities onto you because they were seeing how vibrant you were, how much fun you were having. So yeah, it's a funny shift.
Yeah, no, for sure. And also it was like motivating. We were talking about it earlier, just like the underdog story. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like that's always motivating. Being that one who just comes out of nowhere, comes from from the shadows, and people say, "Oh, what the heck? Where do you come from? How do you do that?" Like I love those stories.
Oh yeah, they're the best ones. You don't want the Patriots of the world or the Alabamas of the world. Eventually, you want to see somebody take them on and beat them and all that shit. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of this story. That was the main reason why I wanted you on this podcast and on this episode. Is there's so many people that are in a dark place. There's so many people that don't have the confidence that they need now, that need to hear this, so they know that if you bust your ass and you work hard, you could get all the things that you want.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I mean, none of that stuff started until like my mindset shifted. Like my mental was the first thing that got all the other gears going.
Yeah. And as that mental shift happened, how did your confidence shift?
Way more confident, because confident that I could do things, but it was confident because I kept promises to myself. It was that, oh, I'm going to do this, and then no, I'm going to follow through with it. Like, and those times when you're working out or doing those things where no one else is seeing if you're going to quit or not, but if you're going to quit or not, those are the times that you can prove stuff to yourself. Like, all right, even though no one else would have found out that I didn't do this, like, no, I'm going to do this for myself. You know what I mean? So a whole bunch of integrity was built through that too. Man,
it's crazy. It's crazy to me that you're learning a lot of this on the fly as a young man and applying it and really pushing yourself and really motivating yourself, when a lot of people pay a lot of money to trainers because they can't do this.
Yeah.
So for you to be a teenager and be doing this, a young 20-year-old, and then perfecting it, is an amazing story. How did your outlook on life change?
I think it just always, it gave me confidence that, like, I guess anything's achievable if you really just set out to do it. And you just kind of like convince yourself, like, no, this is what I'm going to do this, like zero options. Like I'm going to get this result no matter what. So I feel like it gives me more confidence and outlooks that way more possibilities are available to you in the world than just what you always thought of your little box was.
And if you were to compare quickly your mind at the biggest weight that you were into the stage in which you're talking about right now when it comes to confidence and outlook, were they stark differences? They were 180s. Where your outlook and your confidence was a little bit less when you were bigger, and then it was a huge shift once you actually got to the shape and weight that you wanted to be at.
Yeah, I think for the most part, like when I was bigger, I just kind of just things were what they were. You know what I mean? And you didn't really have too much to say about things changing. It's just like, all right, so you're heavy, you're probably going to be heavy. Okay, you're smart, you're probably going to be doing computer stuff. Like there wasn't very room for like any kind of tweaks. It's just this is who you are as a person. This is how your life is going to be, and things are what they are. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure, I know what you mean. Holy shit! That, like I said, you're dropping a lot of powerful things. I hope people grab onto, but to feel that way at this shape inside of a box, and then to feel that you busted out of that box and now the world is your oyster based on getting in shape, the shape helping your mental clarity keeping you focused and determined on getting all this stuff done, and how it all kind of stems from all the little things that you learned along the way that turned you into the human being you are, and then the body of work is your reward.
Exactly.
Fucking shit. I mean, like I said, I wish more people would do what you do. A lot of people don't have that type of determination. They don't have that type of grit. It's easy to see somebody like yourself and somebody to judge you and go, oh, I bet you in high school he was everything. He was the prom king. He was the captain of the football team. He got all the girls. And then to hear your story and then them because they're judging you based on being in great shape now and being in the way you are now, and would never know the story that you did have and the hard work you had to do to get to where you are now. So it's an amazing story I'm just glad to be asking you these questions.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, and I still do get that. Where people, they assume what my past was. And I always try to make that even more of a point to be very humble, very genuine, so people don't have those kind of like assumptions when it comes to like kind of like me.
Oh, for sure. And then the confidence comes in, the mental clarity is even better. How was it at this stage now when it came to the opposite sex, when it came to the ladies? How'd that change?
Well, I definitely had a better response, I guess you want to call it. Like more people were attracted to me.
Yeah.
At first, like I was raised well enough to not do anything stupid, but like I didn't know how to handle it or anything like that. But I was very I'm trying to think of a word. I was very selective still, regardless, because I didn't want people to only like me before my looks.
Yeah.
That was another thing, because I knew I was smart, right? All these other things to me, so I didn't want people to just only like me for my looks, and I didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you probably same people who didn't talk to me before are going to talk to me now only because I look this way.
Great mindset, though. Great perspective to have, because you still have your guard up, which I feel a lot of people that have always been the man or always been the woman, their guard is very vulnerable, and they usually end up getting taken advantage of because of their looks, because of their body, because more often than not, they didn't have to use their brain. And now you're creating the total package of like, no, I got a brain and I've been judged before, and now I'm actually in shape and I've looked the way that you think you could judge me off of, but you can't, because I'm going to be very selective.
Exactly, yeah.
How did the attention feel?
I'm not going to lie, it felt good.
Yeah, let's say, no bullshit.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, especially for when you don't have that kind of attention on you for so many years. And sometimes it didn't make it was surprising because I was never used to that, so it was just new for me. But then, yeah, it makes you feel good. It makes you feel like, I guess, like some of your results are like paying off, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's never a bad thing. Like I said, when women want to approach you and they want to touch your arms, they want to touch your abs, or they want to actually now you're getting that type of attention, it's never a bad thing. Like I said, especially when we're in our young 20s, you were getting it at the right time. It wasn't as if you were out of shape and then in your 40s you got into shape. It's like you got into shape right at the peak of female attention.
Yeah, no, seriously, yeah, I guess so. It was good timing.
It's never a bad thing. So it's fair. It would be fair to say that getting in shape positively increased multiple facets of your life.
Yeah, for sure. I think it jump started a lot of things in my life. So like I said, it was a mental thing first, but yeah, physical and just like it just made me just realize that the things that I need to work first, it makes me realize things I need to work on, and then also knowing that I can actually apply the work to change those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So whatever, my physical, spiritual, all those things, like, oh, I see a hole here. Oh, I can fix this now. You know what I mean?
Do you have a blueprint to go back to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What portions, or maybe all of them, but you could give me specific ones, now helped you? Because once we conquer one, there's always another thing to conquer. And then for young men, the next thing to conquer after fitness or after being in shape usually ends up being career.
Yeah.
So what tools did you use that you developed when it came to your fitness journey that you applied to your career journey?
Like I said, I think it was just like the whole figuring out gaps that you have.
Yeah.
Cause it's just working off of what I already knew I was capable of.
Mm-hmm.
Not trying to think of, oh, why don't you build another skill or build something else so you could achieve something else outside of just what you already know. So I think it was a lot of that. And I definitely tried more things out. I was confident enough to try more things out and not get stuck in one certain spot. But with each job, I did learn a lot of things with each job, just like with different phases of working out. If you're trying to be a bodybuilder, like you learn different aspects of working out based on what you're trying to go for. But yeah, I think it just helped me just to have the confidence to try things out, to, I guess, just develop in all different kind of ways and just see what I liked and what I didn't like and what my niche was pretty much.
Which, to the point that you're making, sounds exactly like your fitness journey. You're trying all these different things. The things were helping you along the way, and then once you found the thing that you enjoyed most, like I said, it's lifting weights, it's playing basketball, it's doing all these things. You can now just kind of do those and maintain the shape in which you're in now.
Oh yeah, easy. Yeah, exactly.
So now we're gonna dive into kind of what it. Do you think? Now we're gonna dive in. Huh?
No, you're good. I'm just gonna plug my.
Yeah, no worries. We're gonna dive into kind of just this new take on people being out of shape or health within how it is now, and what's your take on being somebody that was very much out of shape, that got into shape, on this new movement of it's okay to be big or it's okay to be out of shape? What is your take on that?
So, all right, I'll tell you about that one. I'm glad that they want people to feel confident in where they're at, but they're making them feel so comfortable that they should stay where they're at, not move anywhere forward.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's very unhealthy to promote that kind of like when you're promoting someone at an unhealthy weight, that's not doing anything. You're not doing anything for them. You're kind of just like sugarcoating something. It's almost like you're putting a patch on a tire. You're just telling them what they want to hear and not what they need to hear, just to kind of like inflate their confidence, when deep down they know that they don't like where they're at. You know what I mean? Because I was at that point where I was this heavy, and then you could always tell yourself, "Oh, I'm big boned," or "Oh, big is beautiful," and stuff like that, which it is. But still, deep down, you know that you're not in the right spot where you're at. Where you're supposed to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Trust me. In this category, I'm gonna agree with everything that you're saying right now, because it's exactly how I feel. If somebody were at the stage in which you were at, tell you, David, it's okay. We love you for who you are at this stage and this size. How would you feel when you hear that outside, and how would you feel inside hearing that?
Well, that did happen when I was big, to be honest.
Oh, shit.
So that's what kept me big, because people just like said, "Oh, no, you're just big boned. It runs in your family," like stuff like that, to where it just kept me comfortable to not want to do something to change it.
Yeah.
You know, I never really came to those terms. No, like I wanted someone to say, "No, you are kind of unhealthy, and maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that." But people just always told me, "No, you're okay." It's like, you know what I mean? They just try to like make you feel better in the moment, which wasn't doing me a service in the long term.
Oh,
You're actually actually hurting me in the long term.
Oh, for sure. And that is the part that I really want to drive home is people that tell somebody that is out of shape, that is big, that it's okay to be that way. You're just as big of an enabler as if you were telling an alcoholic it's okay that they keep drinking. Because
Exactly.
heart disease and alcoholism kill people at pretty even rates. And when you were hearing that, how many years did it take for you to snap out and go, wait a minute, this isn't okay?
Because I was always hearing it when I was younger, like I said, probably up until I started trying to lose the weight at senior year. So like probably up until I was like 17 is when I tried to make that decision for myself. Like, nah, like I don't think that this is going to be okay long term, especially as a grown adult. I can't be doing this.
Man, and it's great to hear that. And like I said, I hope somebody back home or somebody listening to this podcast is hearing that and making that decision and making that change. Oh, we lost him for a second.
Well, I got you.
Oh, cool. But yeah, no, it's great to hear that that's exactly what the fuck is happening. And that somebody that's gone through this journey doesn't agree with that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's a wild one right now. It's hard for me as a fitness professional to see it, but I'm glad to have somebody here that could say, hey, no, do not listen to the bullshit. Do not drink the Kool-Aid because that's not the move to go into.
It's not healthy, and you're supposed to be promoting these things to like people with a platform who are big, and so people look up to that, and now they're gonna do that thing, and they're gonna think it's okay to just be unhealthy at an unhealthy weight just because someone else is being glorified for it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, trust me. I said, huh?
Yeah, it's crazy. Kind of to go what you're saying about that is. What's pretty funny is when I lost all this weight, I ended up getting into like a modeling agency.
Oh wow!
And so I went from a big dude to trying to take like model pictures and whatnot.
Yeah.
But at the time, that was right when the whole shift happened, where the whole big is beautiful is happening. So all the modeling gigs I thought was going to be for people who look like me ended up being they're looking for the average
bigger body. Big.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I was like, damn, well, if I was bigger, I probably would have got all these.
I mean, what a 180. Holy shit. That is an amazing story. So we're going to close this up. I got this last question for you. What advice would you give someone in your similar situation, or somebody that is now in this, it's okay to be big and beautiful and all this stuff? What is your best advice to close this off?
You got to ultimately do it for yourself. And like I said, like I did it for myself and for like my future self and who I'm going to be affecting as my future self. When I have kids, I want to be in shape to like run around and play with my kids. I want to have a long enough life to live and enjoy and do all those kind of things. But yeah, when you're talking about the whole big is beautiful, you know in your heart like what you want to be and what you see yourself like. Who is like that perfect person you see yourself as, and then you can just mold yourself into that. And kind of got off track with what you're asking here, but
no, you're on it. Keep going. You're exactly on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just pretty much like the person that you always imagine yourself to be, like that perfect image of yourself. It's definitely attainable. So why not go and be that person? Like if you were to draw yourself as a cartoon superhero, what would you look like? You know what I mean?
Man.
And I think it's very attainable to just go after that. You know what I mean? That person.
Yeah, I mean, I could not agree more. After hearing this whole episode, if there is a human being out there that is anywhere close to the situation that you're in, you saying all this stuff should help map out a plan in which they can get to where you are. It's not easy. By no means is what you did easy. It takes years. It takes dedication. It takes a lot of hard work that 99% of people just aren't willing to do. And that's the sad part, is it's not all this money they have to spend. It's not anything but time and hard work they have to give up. And if you do that, they could become yourself. They could be in the shape that you're in. They can have the mindset. They could go reach bigger things. But it all stems with, I like that you said it earlier, it all stems with belief and faith at the same time.
Oh, straight up, straight up.
So, man, thank you very much for this. This was an amazing episode, and I'm just really glad that you were able to tell this story. Like I said, is there any closing statements?
Yeah, man, I think really, like you said, like really just have that heart target with yourself of what you really want to do, and I think you just gotta like kind of block out all the other noise and focus really on within yourself of what you want to do, and you can't have other people's opinions kind of change your path of what you really want to do in life. And you also have great people to like support you, like the people I've ran into in life. You have great coaches like yourself who can push you and keep you accountable. And there's other people like me who are also like working on their mental self that you never even know. Just have more conversation with people. Try to get more around more like-minded people, and you guys can build a community to keep yourself accountable.
Shit, amazing gems, brother, man. Like, thank you very much, man. I appreciate this so much, and it really means a lot.
For sure.
Good shit. No, thank you, man. And like I said, as the podcast increases, we're gonna get you back on. We're gonna talk about some fun stuff at the same time, but we'll figure some other topics to get you back onto the podcast. But once again, thank you so much, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. Thanks for having me, man. For sure. That's some need to apply it for real.
No, extremely important. Well, yeah, thanks, brother. Have a great weekend, and we'll link up soon.
Yes, sir. You too.
All right, brother. All right, peace.